Good day, grade 10 students! Welcome back to my channel. This is Sir Orgela, your art teacher. For today's lesson, we will be talking about modern art. It is for your week 2 for your module. Okay, so let's begin. We have here the different lessons that we are going to tackle for this particular topic. First, we have here the Impressionism, followed by Expressionism, Abstractionism, Abstract Expressionism, and lastly, the contemporary art forms. As we go along for our lessons, I will be discussing the different characteristics and also I will be dealing or we will be dealing about the different painters or artists during this time. So, let's go! First, we have here Impressionism. Later on, we are going to describe different pictures and we are going to see if the characteristics that we are going to tackle is on the different images that I am going to show you. Okay. Here are some of the examples of the artworks. Okay, for Expressionism, we have here Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali and the Guernica by Pablo Picasso. Later on, these examples I will show you their characteristics and of course, the different things we need to learn about these paintings. We also have here Abstractionism and what unders it. Okay, what anchors abstract expressionism. Okay? So when we talk about impressionism, it represents the viewer's momentary impression of an image. Okay? Impressionism also deals with it is not intended to be clear or precise but more like a fleeting fragment of reality. Meaning to say, hindi daw nila kailangan na makuha yung mismong detalye ng pinipaint nila. What they need is to come up with not precise art but as long as they provide a kind of art wherein it talks about the viewer's momentary impression. When we speak about momentary, yung panandalian, okay? That is pansamantala, okay? Yon. Okay, next. We have here the first reason why there is Impressionism. This is an example of Impressionism art by Claude Monet and this one is called The Sunrise. Okay? Impressionism, like what I said earlier, the viewer's momentary impression of an image. Next, characteristic, it is intended to be not clear. Okay? And I was able to discuss it. If you are going to look on the pictures, take a look on the pictures, from the first time you look at it, you will not be thinking that it is a water lily. But if you make a deeper look or if you are going to look at it more, you would realize, this is a water lily. Next, Impressionism expressed their personal perceptions rather than exact representations. For example, this bridge, wala naman kayong makikita na ganyan mismong bridge. So, it has something to do with their personal perceptions. Kung paano nila piniperceive ang isang bagay, that's how they draw it. Okay? That's how they paint it. Okay? I hope you got the idea. Next, another characteristic when it comes to color and light, it is short, broken strokes. And it is pure and mixed colors side by side. It is freely brushed colors convey visual effects. Aside from that, it talks about the everyday subjects, which are the scenes of life, household objects, the landscapes and seascapes, houses, cafes, and buildings. So those are the subjects for Impressionism. Next, let us have here, when we speak about painting outdoors, previously still lifes, portraits, and landscape were painted inside the studio. The Impressionist found that they could best capture the ever-changing effects of light and color by painting outdoors in natural light. So take note of that. They did not only focus for a kind of art which is made inside the studio. Meaning to say, they believe that you are going to engage yourself more when you are dealing with natural light as you paint something. Okay? Why? Let's go back to what I had discussed earlier. It talks about the scenes of life. Okay? That is Impressionism. While here is what we call impressionist, the one or the person or the painter or the artist who's making impressionism art is what we call the impressionist artist. Who are they? This time, we are going to tackle the three impressionist artists who gave or who paved the way for this kind of art. Let us talk about Claude Monet. Claude Monet is one of the founders of the Impressionist movements along with his friends Auguste Renoir, Alfred Sisley, and Frederic Bazille. He was the most prominent of the group, considered the most influential figure in the movement. Meaning to say, may ibang impressionist artists but the most prominent, the most influential is no other than but Claude Monet. Okay, so here is his paintings about. Monet is best known for his landscape paintings, particularly those depicting his beloved flower garden and water lily ponds at his home in Giverny. Okay? So meaning to say, his inspiration is really talking about what? It's really talking about nature. So that is Claude Monet. Next, if you are going to look on some of his artworks, take a look on the artworks. There is what we call Bridge Over a Pond of Water Lilies. Okay? And then he also had Water Lilies, La Promenade, and then the Red Boots, Argenteuil. Okay? So that is, or these are some of his artwork. Take note of this. I was able to send some of the examples of what Monet did or what Monet painted. Okay? Next, let us have now Edward Manet. Okay? One of the first 19th century artists to depict modern life subject. Okay, aside from Claude Monet, other impressionist artist is Edward Manet. He was a key figure in the transition from realism to impressionism. Take note of that. From realism to impressionism, with a number of his works considered as the marking birth of modern art. So he was the one who started modern art. He is Edward Manet. Okay? Here are some of his artwork. Take note of this. Okay? He was talking about the modern life figure or structures. Okay? So yung mga ginagawa daw in a particular place. Like for example, the first picture. Okay, there is a girl and a man who's talking. And then we also have here the flag. And then the girl was serving a wine or a beverage. So, it talks about a modern life. Sabi nga natin, ano nga ulit, balikan natin yan. It depicts modern life subjects. That is Edward Manet. Next, let us have now Auguste Renoir. Okay, that's how you pronounce it. It's Auguste Renoir. Along with Monet, was one of the central figures of Impressionist movement. His early works were snapshots of real life, full of sparkling color and light. That is the characteristic of his works. Take note of this, snapshots of real life. He was focusing on the real life situation before he come up with a particular artwork. So that is how Auguste Renoir is performing or was performing his art during his time. Okay? He also had formal technique to portraits of actual people and figure paintings. Next, here are some of the artwork made by Auguste Renoir. If we are going to compare the work of Renoir and Monet, mas makikita natin, we are going to identify that it is more detailed compared, take note of that, if you are going to look at it, it is more detailed, okay, it is more detailed compared to the work of Monet and Manet. Okay, we are going to identify the face of this girl, also this one. Okay, so if we're going to look at it, it is far from what Monet and Manet did. Okay, so let's have the next one. Next is what we call post-impressionism. When we speak about post-impressionism, it has something to do with, excuse me for a moment, I cannot find it. Okay, sorry. Okay, so balik tayo. When we speak about post-impressionism, it means natapos na yung impressionism time or yung panahon ng impressionism. Kaya nagkaroon ng tinatawag nilang post-impressionism. This time, we will only be talking with two painters or two artists. Okay? They call themselves as the post-impressionist artists. It has something to do with the use of geometric approach, fragmenting objects and distorting people's faces and body parts, and applying colors that were not necessarily realistic or natural. Meaning to say, the examples of artwork here has something to do with geometrical pattern. Aside from that, the distorted images, when we say distorted, for example, nakatabingi, or ibig sabihin, mas mahaba yung baba, mas malaki yung tenga, parang ganon. So, distorting the people's faces. So, that is for Impressionism. This time, let us now talk about Paul Cezanne. Okay? Paul Cezanne from 1839 to 1906, a French artist and post-impressionist painter. His work exemplified the transition from the 19th century impression to a new and radically different world of art in the 20th century, paving the way for the next revolutionary art movement known as Expressionism. Meaning to say, bago nagkaroon ng tinatawag nating Expressionism, isa si Paul Cezanne yung naging dahilan paano nagkaroon nun. Okay? Kasi kasunod ng post-impressionism ay ang expressionism. Take note of that, ha? He is a French artist. Next. Here are some of his artworks. Okay? Take a look on this and then try to identify. Look at the colors, di ba? Intense, there is an intense color on the different paintings we have here, but we cannot easily identify what kind of who is this guy. We cannot say that. Okay? Who is this Harley Quinn? There is no precise image for this. There is no precise face. Also, this girl, 'di ba? Hindi kagaya ng gawa ng mga naunang artist na we can identify their faces. Okay? Here are just some of the work of Paul Cezanne. Next, we have one of the most popular artists up until now because of his artworks. And one of the most popular artwork he made or he did is The Starry Night. Okay? He is a post-impressionist painter from the Netherlands. Kung si Paul Cezanne ay French artist, siya naman ay taga Netherlands. His works were remarkable for their strong, take note of that, strong, heavy brush strokes, intense emotions, and colors that appeared to almost pulsate with energy. Had most recognized works in the world, and one of which is The Starry Night. Okay? Yung kaninang pinakabungad na pinakita kong image, that is Starry Night. Here are some of his artworks. Okay, take a look at that. Sabi kanina, there is an intense color. If you are going to look at this image, the sower, there is an intense color. Okay? Next. Here is the starry night. Okay, if you're going to take a look at this, according to what I read, these are the stars. Yang mga bilog na yan. Ito, mga bilog na yan, mga stars daw yan. Okay? Intense, it shows so much emotion. Okay? Next. Now, let us talk about expressionism. Use of distorted outlines, applied strong colors like what we had in the post-impressionism, and exaggerated forms. Pag sinabi natin exaggerated, OA, ibig sabihin mas matindi, okay? They work more with their imagination and feelings rather than with their eyes saw in the physical world. Meaning to say, imaginative sila. They have to think of so many things before they come up for a particular artwork or painting. Okay? That is how expressionism, from the word itself, expressing your feelings, your thoughts, your ideas, and your imaginations. Okay? Expressionism art movements, we have here the neo-primitivism, Fauvism, Dadaism, Surrealism, and social realism. I am going to discuss each and I'm going to give examples for each. Okay. When we speak about Fauvism, it has used bold, vibrant colors and visual distortions. Here, in the first picture, as it shows its title, it is Blue Window by Henry Matisse. Take note of the pronunciation. It is Henry Matisse. If you're going to look at it, where is the window? We cannot easily identify it because the artist imagined it first before he come up with this kind of painting. Sabi nga 'di ba, hindi sila nagbe-base sa kung anong nakikita nila sa real world. They are focusing much on what? On what they imagine. Okay? Take note of that. Let us now proceed to the next one, a woman with hat. According to what I researched and what I read, this girl is his wife. Okay, asawa niya yan. Actually, I was able to draw this or to paint this. I'm going to send it on our GC for you to also have it. And you can try to imitate this image using your different art materials. Let's say, for example, you have color pencil, watercolor, you may use those. Okay? Expressionism next is the Dadaism. It is characterized by memory images, dreams, and fantasies. Okay? Take note of that, ha? Visual tricks and fantasies. Yun yun. Ibig sabihin ng Dadaism. Anything that they dream of, okay, that is the Dadaism. For example, I Am the Village. Okay? These are some of the examples of what they come up with this kind of or the art movement under Expressionism. Next, Surrealism. Pag sinabi natin Surrealism, for example, maggagawa ko ng isang artwork na pagsasamahin ko yung yung ulo ng ibon na may buntot, na may pakpak, mga ganon. Pagsasama-samahin ko yon. Katawan ng babae na may ulo ng kalapate, may mga ganon. So, that is surrealism or superrealism. It is an artwork clearly expressing a departure from reality. For example, lalagyan ko yung elepante ng pakpak. So, ibig sabihin, napakalayo nun sa realidad. Ganon naman yung tinutukoy pag surrealism ang ating topic. Okay? Next. Here are some of the examples. If you're going to look on the first picture, you are going to think, how many clock do I see? Ilan kayang clock? Isa, dalawa, tatlo. Okay? So, I'm going to identify it. If I'm going to look at it, is this a horse or what? You will be thinking, it is far from the reality. So, pwede kong sabihin yon. Okay, next. Personages with star. Ano naman ang tinutukoy dito? Nasaan ang star dito? Diba? You'll be thinking that way. So, That is how Dadaism is all about. Okay, next, let's proceed with social realism. Artists use their works to protest against the injustices, inequalities, immorality, and ugliness of the human condition. Dito, ini-express ng mga artist yung kanilang artwork sa kung ano yung mga nakikita nilang pangit sa lipunan. Okay, take note of that wherein it talks about injustice, wala daw hustisya, hindi pagkakapantay-pantay, immoralidad, pangit na nangyayari sa lipunan. So that is social realism. Here is the example of social realism. The Miner's Wives by Ben Shahn in 1948. They spoke out against the hazardous condition faced by coal miners after a tragic accident killed 111 workers in Illinois in 1947, leaving their wives and children in mourning. Pag sinabi nating mourning, pagluluksa. Okay? Yan, nagluluksa, iniwan dahil sa mga nangyari sa mga miners, coal miners during that time. Namatay yung 111 workers. So, pinapakita doon yung pangit na nangyari. Okay? Pangit na nangyari, kaya social realism siya naka-under. Take note of that. Next, here is one of the most recognizable and most monumental and comprehensive statement of social realism. When we say monumental, malaki, okay? Sobrang laki, malaki yung ano niya, nagampanan or malaki naging role niya. Or malaking klase ng painting talaga siya. This is by Pablo Picasso, Guernica. Okay, that is the title. Okay, in 1937. Okay, next. Medyo malapit na po tayo. Let us now talk about Neo-Primitivism. Among the Western artists who adopted this element was Amedeo Modigliani, who used the oval faces and elongated shapes of African art in both his sculptures and paintings. Ibig sabihin, yung ginamit niya daw na painting, yung subject na ginamit niya for painting, he was also using it for sculpture. Okay? Neo from the South Sea Islanders of the wood carvings of the African tribes. Okay, sa Africa naman daw nagsimula yung art movement na Neo-Primitivism. Let's have the next one. Ito yung nabanggit kanina. The head, yung ginamit na head, aside from sculpture, it is used also for painting or vice versa. Okay? Next, we have here the yellow sweater. I think we're heading on to the last part, which is about abstractionism. From the word itself, abstract, okay? So, yung parang hindi agad naiintindihan ng basta-basta yung isang artwork. That is abstractionism. Sometimes, yung mga abstract artists, they are the only ones who can understand their art. Okay? But if you are a kind of person na may heart pagdating sa art or merong knowledge pagdating sa art, sometimes you will be able to understand the kind of art that they are providing or the kind of art that they are making. So that is abstractionism. When we speak about abstractionism, it is exaggerates, is simplified, or distorted. Okay? Composed exists with the degree of independence from visual references in the world. While Expressionism was emotional, Abstractionism was logical and rational. It involves analyzing, detaching, selecting, and simplifying. Parang matlang, no? So I will be showing you some of the examples of Abstractionism. Here we have the oval still life. Okay? This represents an example of abstractionism. Okay, so take a look on this picture. What are you going to form when you look at these pictures? What are the images I could see? Okay. Next, another example is the three musicians. If I'm going to look at this picture, where is, or where are the musicians? How can I be able to see it? How can I be able to identify the three musicians being discussed here? Okay? Or being shown here. So if you're going to take a look, take note of this, take a look on this. The one who's having a flute, the one who's having the guitar, and the one who's holding the what? The one who's holding the what do you call by that? Note, parang music notebook or what? Okay? So, yan. Diyan daw natin ma-identify yung abstractionism. Okay? Next is the futurism began in Italy in the early 1900s. Arts were created for a fast-paced machine-propelled age. Yung pag ano na mga malalaki o mabilisang pagbabago na pagdating sa artworks, diyan pumasok ang ating futurism from the world itself. Futurism. It deals with the future or the art that deals with the future. Next, ito, another example of futurism, armored train. But if you're going to look at it, where is the train? How can I identify the train here? Okay? It's the artist who's going to explain it. Okay? Next is the abstractionism or the mechanical style, the result of the futurist movement, basic forms such as planes, cones, spheres, and cylinders. Meaning to say it has something to do with different shapes. Okay? So let's now take a look on the example of this mechanical style. So here, the city. If you're going to take a look at this, we are going to identify the different shapes. But nung pinagsama-sama na sila, they come up with a particular image under mechanical abstractionism. And they come up with this word, the city. Okay? Or this kind of artwork. We're going to take a look. There are different shapes. And siguro, ang gustong i-portray ng artist, kung kaya nyo maintindihan to, ito ay tumutukoy sa lugar. Okay? Next, abstractionism is non-objectivism. Lines, shapes, and color were used in a cool, impersonal approach that aimed for balance, unity, and stability. It is an example of a concrete art. Tingnan yung image na yan, di ba? Parang balance na yan. Balance between yellow, red, and blue. Okay? So, that is non-objectivism. Next is the abstract expressionism, action painting. Ito yan. Ay, parang kaya ko naman gawin yan, sir. Parang madali lang naman yan. Parang binuhos lang naman yung acrylic dyan. So, it's up to you on how you express yourself. Kaya ang expressionism when it comes to abstract expressionism. Okay? It is something to do with splattering and squirting and dribbling paint. Yung parang walang isang direksyon. Okay, di ba? So, yun. So, that is action painting under abstract expressionism. Okay? So, last is the colored field painting. Use different colors, saturations, purity, vividness, intensity to create desired effects. So, that would end our lesson. I hope that you are able to learn new things about art, and I hope that I was able to discuss everything you need for your week 2, and please answer your modules. The very reason why I'm making this video, it's because I want to help you to come up, or I want to help you for you to be able to answer your modules every week. So, for those who are not yet hindi pa nakapag-subscribe sa aking channel, do not forget to subscribe for you to watch the different video lessons that you will be needing for your grade 10 MAPE class. Okay? I think that would be all. If you have questions, never forget to message me on our GC. Okay? You can share your knowledge to everybody. You can share the learnings that you got from me, from your friends, from the other sections, or from your friends who are also in grade 10. So that would be all. Thank you so much. I am hoping that you're able to learn. God bless us all. Stay safe. Huwag kalimutang mag-mask every time na lalabas. Once again, this is Sir Orgela. Thank you for listening.